Howdy folks, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be showing you my 1971 Ford F250 Highboy Custom. A little bit about the truck. My grandfather bought it in the late 70s and used it as a daily driver and a work truck until he sadly passed away in August 2017, which he passed it on down to me. The truck was a family truck used by most of the family throughout the generations. Mudding truck, hunting truck, logging truck, whatever they needed, this truck got the job done for them. The truck sat in total about 7-8 years, and it took not really too much to get it going at first, and then she started throwing curveballs like transfer cases and stuff like that at me. Coming up under the engine bay here, we got a 360 FE with a 2-barrel carb backed up with a 4-speed manual transmission. I believe this engine was putting out about 197-ish horsepower. One of the quick and easy ways to tell an FE versus any other engine is right here. The intake and the head meet underneath the valve cover. Any other engine would meet on the outside of the valve cover right here. Whenever I first got the truck, the plug wires were all eaten up out of it by rats. Most of the wiring was gone. Carburetor was needing rebuilt. Fuel pump was done. It was just leaking everything out of it. Whenever I first got to it, I replaced all the plug wires, plugs, fuel pump, rebuilt the carburetor, and she still wouldn't fire up on me for a few months until I figured out how to adjust the timing correctly, and she fired up for a little bit and she died. And then it took me a few more weeks to figure out that the ignition switch inside the cab behind the key was the problem, and once I got that fixed up, she fired up, idled, no problem. Everything went really well up until a few months ago, whenever some ding-dong, me, plugged the battery in backwards and fried the this little wire right here. Fried it, and it took me weeks to find out which wire was fried. I replaced the starter, I replaced the solenoid, I replaced that little fuse right there, I replaced the battery, made sure all the connections were done. It took me weeks until I tugged on that little wire right there, and it pulled out of the sleeve. Right now we have the entire exhaust because we're trying to get the some new headers on there and get a new exhaust system. We found out whenever I was going down the road the exhaust system underneath the truck was gonna fall off. It was in no way, shape, or form holding on to each other. And in that process of inspecting the exhaust, we found the transfer case bushings on the very, very top of the transfer case. We got it removed up top right here. Every one of these bushings on top were toasted. You can see this is pretty bad, you know. Every other one was missing. It just wasn't even there. So I removed that and had the transfer case bearings rebuilt just because. We got that ready back from the shop, ready to be put back in soon. We just got to get new bushings for the top, get this cleaned up a little bit, and we'll get that thrown back up in there. And I think I'm just going to go with some AutoZone Flowtech headers for this, and then just drive it on down to the exhaust shop and have them weld up a new exhaust for it. I think I might want to go stock and come out the passenger side behind the wheel, one pipe all the way out. I think that would be pretty nice. As it sits for 50 plus years old, this truck without a rebuild, this engine has 0 leaks except this one tiny little leak right here up on top of the oil filter housing. Whenever it's running, it'll seep a little bit of oil up out of there. Other than that, this truck has no other leaks on it, and it's pretty incredible. Up underneath this air cleaner, we have the original 2-barrel Auto-Like carb. This carb had a rebuild 2 or 3 times. This accelerator pump's had a problem with going out on me, and I can only seem to find it in the rebuild kits. So every time I get it, I just say might as well replace the gaskets and stuff up in there. You can see this fuel line is just the regular fuel hose with the tiniest little bit of metal hose in it. I need to get that situated. I have finally bought the tool to bend the fuel line so I can put a permanent fuel line situation up in here. I got to get the correct, you can see I have one discolored spark plug. I got to get the correct spark plugs up in here. You can see they're way too long in some spots right here. I got to get the right spark plugs. I got to get a little bit better vacuum hose situation here. And then just about that, the engine should be topped off. It has, like I said, no leaks. It has typically no issues. It starts and fires up like nothing. I would right now, but like I said earlier, I have no exhaust system on it, and I don't want to wake the neighbors up. The plan for this truck is to keep it mostly stock. I only think the performance-wise parts we're gonna do is only a 4-barrel carb and an intake, and the headers, and that's probably about it. I want to keep this truck as stock as possible. After we get the exhaust installed and the transfer case installed, we're gonna go ahead and do a brake rebuild in the front and rear, probably a wheel bearing rebuild in the front and rear. And I want to do an engine and transmission rebuild, but that's going to be way later on in the future. There's no reason to rebuild this engine and transmission now. Everything's working perfectly fine as it should. The 4-wheel drive is a little iffy. You got to go into reverse and try to get it out of 4-wheel or 4x, and it takes it a minute to get it out. So I got to work on that. Maybe it's something up in the front hubs. Maybe it's something in the transfer case. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out sometime in the future, but it's not that big of a deal right now. The only little bit of rust whatsoever I can find on the truck that's kind of bad is this little fender right here and this cab mount right up in here. Other than that, the truck is virtually all just surface rust. There's really nothing else wrong with it. There's really no other pitting in the frame. I mean, everything still has you can still see the paint on it, you know what I mean? Everything in this truck is perfect. There's really no rust on it anywhere. It's amazing for how old it is. Coming up on the underside of the truck here, we got another example of how virtually rust-free this truck is. We got factory paint up on the frame right here. And then on the bed back here, very start, you can see the original red paint all the way down the truck. This truck is in awesome condition. I am so happy with this. The more I look at it, the happier I get. We're gonna want to do, you can see all 4 shocks all the way around the truck. The bushing on that one's completely missing. I'm sure these things are locked up completely. We got to get the drive shafts back in just as the transfer case next, and then we're gonna do the exhaust system, and then we're gonna do brakes. Moving on into the interior here, we basically got everything here is all original except for this centerpiece and the steering wheel and the seat. The seat and the centerpiece came out of a Bronco, I believe. And this armrest here, whenever I got to the truck, it was virtually not there. It was poking you, it was hurting you, so I just took it off. And that one is in all right shape, so I left that one on there. The dash was in pretty bad shape, so I took it off, and it's pretty shiny and red now. I want to get a new dash for it, but this is fine for now. I velcroed my dash mat on there. You can see the name of the truck, Big Red. Heck yeah. The stereo system, that is a new replacement. The old stereo was just bad and it didn't work. The heating on this truck works right now, just no air conditioning because we have no AC compressor. We need to get a fan rebuild in that, or a fan rebuild in that blower motor in there. It's clicking and clanking on something. The seat belts are all original. It had the stick on it to hold it up, but that just kind of rusted away and fell off, so I gotta poke it on here, hold my seatbelt up. Coming up on in the cab here, we can see we only got 126,000 miles on it. The pedals kind of show you it's got 126, doesn't it? We got the 4-speed manual transmission with the 4-wheel drive. I mean, it's got no transfer case in it now, so it's loose. She's limp. Like I said, the stereo system is not original. We have the stereo ran from the battery to the stereo system underneath the floor. You can see here, one of the wires is ran up in here. Not safe, but it's right beside the gas tank. Like I said before, the truck had sat for about 8 years before I had got to it, and I don't know exactly what had been done to the truck before I got it. There was obvious evidence that somebody has been messing with it before I had touched it. Whenever I had got to it, this all the blinkers, the switches didn't work, the headlights didn't work, nothing worked. And then eventually I got tired of having to use my hands and everything, hand signals, and I looked into the wiring down here, and all of this was just cut. It was all cut up. Everything was cut, everything was broken. And so I traced all the wires back, and it went up into the steering column here, and I figured it ran to this blinker switch up right here. So I took the steering wheel off and pulled the wires out, and sure enough, I wired everything back together, and everything works perfectly. Blinkers work, headlights work, brake lights work, hazards work, everything works perfectly. Even the, you can see here, hang on, which one is it? Is it this one, the lights? You can see you can turn it, and it'll turn the brightness of the gauges up and down. You can hear it click. That's all the way on, and you can dim it all the way down. Turn it all the way up. I think that is just the neatest old thing Ford could have done back then. That is crazy. And I don't even think this is one of the top of the line trucks. This is a custom truck, or custom trim truck. So I believe this is the base model truck with the 4-wheel drive. I believe that is the only add-on. I could be wrong. I don't really know too much about the 70s. I wasn't there, so I could be wrong about that. Eventually we're going to be doing a gauge replacement, because you can see it's starting to warp all around here. I took it off at one point to paint it because it was just gross and looking like this all around here. It would look like this. The whole entire thing looked like that. And so I took it off and spray painted it black for a little bit, and then I replaced the inside glass because you just could not see through it. And I put it back on and realized it's just not going back on straight at all. So we're gonna have to get that replaced to make it look a little bit nicer in here. The door lights switch right here, it plugs up in right here. Whenever you close the door, it pushes the button in and it'll turn that light off up there. I believe that's what it does. There's one on both sides. As far as I know, they should work. The switches were broken whenever I first got to it, so it would be cool if I can find some switches for that and see if that light will turn on whenever I open the door. That would be really cool if that works. I have also seen other trucks, other bump sides have a little light back up in here whenever you open the door. It's a little light that'll come on. You can see the floorboards. I don't know if this one has it. I hope so, because that's really cool. But if not, I really want to put one in there. That would be really cool. Future plans for the interior: I want to get a new seat in here. This one's kind of crusty and old, and it's not bolted down correctly. It's not even bolted down at all. I believe the original seat was able to slide and fold, so I want to get that in here. Next, we're gonna do another floor liner replacement. This one is new, but I took my time putting it in, and it sat in the bed of the truck for a while, and it cracked like a mofo. So we're gonna do another one soon. Get another floorboard or another floor mat replacement. Whenever I first got the truck, I had to do a little bit of welding myself to fix the floor pans, but it's all right. I got the floor mat to cover it. Out of sight, out of mind. I want to do like a sound deadening system, but I don't know if I would have to run the floor mat all the way back up to do that. I don't want anybody to see like chrome silver tape right here, so I would want to have, I think I would want to run the entire floor mat all the way back up under the seat, and I would want to run it up behind the gas tank with some heat shield stuff, just to make the gas tank a little bit safer. Taking a peek up in the bed here, up underneath this too, all the bed showing. There is no rusting through in this bed whatsoever. I had drilled 2 holes back here. You can see one there. I think I put one here in this corner here, and I put another little hole in this corner here. You can see the hole right there for the water to drain out of. I don't know. I know whenever I would come out here after it rained, the water would pool up right here like a madman. So I didn't want to take any chances and let it sit there for too long and rust everything away. So I figured that was a smart thing to do. I don't know. I might be dumb for doing that. I might be a dumb. I don't know. Let me know. Like I said, here we got this transfer case. We're gonna get that put in next video. We're gonna get the exhaust situated next video. And then the video after that, I'm wanting to get the brakes done, and then we're gonna do some looking at the wheel bearings and the hubs. And after that, it's probably gonna be the first test drive on the road. I'm pretty excited for it. So it's one step closer. One of my favorite things about this truck is this sticker right here. My grandfather had to put on there for his landfill permit from 1991 to 1992, and it's been there since then. That is crazy to me. You can see it's peeling off a little bit here in this corner, but I think I'm gonna try to have the windshield guys. You can see I got a crack there and a big old crack on the top. If I can, I want to save this windshield. I don't really mind this. It's not really obstructing my view or anything. I would not mind leaving that in there, but I do need to get my windshield rubber replaced in all 4 corners. Is a gap. I don't know why in all 4 corners it's like that, but I do need to get my windshield looked at. Maybe, hopefully, if they can save it, I want to save it. But if not, it's all good. I want them to take the sticker off and put it on the new one if possible. That would be sweet. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. If you want to see this truck continue its restoration, stay tuned for some classic truck shenanigans. Thank you guys and see you next time.